Oi, oi. I reckon we are live. Again, I'm checking on the phone. I should be more proficient with this, but I just want to make sure. I reckon we are live, right? So, hello. Hello, everybody. I appreciate this is a week where, Cheltenham's gone. We're in like sort of maybe the hangover phase, and people probably have just had enough of spending 20 hours plus a day on Twitter, 20 hours a day on just their phones, exchanges a lot, looking at betting, probably having a breather. So whether people are watching this or not, I don't know, maybe you can catch up another time. But me and Dazzler are going to try and stay committed to doing this weekly. I know we've missed one, but we're going to try and stay committed. So on that bombshell, Dazzler, how are you doing? Are you having a bit of a break before getting stuck into things again?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I'm just wondering whether I've got to buy you a fucking watch or not, because you never turn up on time each week for this.
half seven, I said we're going live.
No, you did. You said 7 o'clock. You told me 7 o'clock. You told everyone else that. I'm just having a bit of a break before getting stuck back in. I just started looking. I couldn't help myself looking back, watching back Cheltenham today. What a week! Great week, wasn't it?
Proper week that was. So that's what I've done. At the bottom, you might not be able to see the visuals, but for this week's episode, I'm going to be talking about Cheltenham, so we'll review a bit there. We'll do a proper review at some point if you fancy it. I'm going to go through and look at some bits, see if we can get Jamie together. There was a few comments thanking you guys for your support for it, so I thank you as well. See if we get some sort of review. We'll talk about some main highlight stuff. I haven't got this on the cheap account for Zoom, so we've got a bit longer tonight if we need to. We're going to go into the rants after. So I've been asking everyone if they want to send something in. We had a few things that have come in. The voice note that got sent in this morning was just win off the bat. So I did put a tweet out there saying that if we get enough, well, I didn't say if we got enough, but I said if more people put stuff in there, I'll chuck another £25 free bet. They were quite quiet after that, literally giving £25 away. So I'll roll it over to next week. And if they're all crap next week, then we'll bin it off. Because there's low numbers, guys. Like, if you just send an email in, you're probably going to make 25 quid. Anyway,
this doesn't really work, does it? Unless they help us out with a rant, like a voice note. It doesn't really work otherwise, does it?
No, but I reckon there'll be plenty of people to get wound up with soon. Like I said, I reckon it's because Cheltenham's gone in it and people are just taking a bit of a break. So I will leave it as that. I was also thinking we should probably, possibly think about trying to see if we can wangle some special guests on every now and again.
I don't like people.
I know we don't like people, but there was like, I know this is nuts, right? But like, I want Wayne Harrison on a show. I want that Paddy Keogh after what he said about Princess Zoe on. When someone's going in meltdown on Twitter and they need to take the break off and they can't stop and they're saying shit they shouldn't say, that's who I want on a Monday when they're frothing and then they're just going to get done for liable slander the lot and we'll just be the gateway for it. We'll take it as a finder's fee or something.
That was quite nuts, wasn't it? That Tony Mullins thing and whatever his name is. God, what was he expecting?
It's mad, isn't it?
I mean, that's expecting her to win by 10 lengths.
I know, but that technically is on Cheltenham, so we'll start talking about that. But yeah, we'll go on the rants. I've got a couple of things that I wanted to go on about. Daryl's got a few things, but I reckon a couple of those we're not going to rant about at the moment. So I'll see if I can fire him up, guys. We'll be looking at the comments as well tonight. I mean, if anyone's watching. So if there's any chat in there, anyone's got any questions, anyone got anything to say live, then we'll come on to that in the third section of the video. As I say, I think it's working. So let's hope it is. Just someone's commented. Oh yeah, we are on there. We're definitely on there. Sorry guys. Right, so Cheltenham Dazzler. Right, we'll quickly do the Princess Zoe thing. I reckon he gets pissed off because Tony Mullins acts like Princess Zoe's his horse.
Do you know what? I've always thought it might have been his horse. I genuinely have always thought that, just the way he talks about her and that.
So I reckon that might have a little bit of a part of it. And then it's painful, isn't it? Because even Tony Mullins said after, didn't he, that might have been the guy's last chance of having a Cheltenham Festival winner in his colours and all that sort of stuff. And you just think,
but fucking boo-hoo.
Well, exactly.
Fucking hell, there's lots of people that go to Cheltenham and don't have a winner. Fucking put your toys back in the fucking pram. Christ.
Nice. So of Cheltenham, right? So that was, in his eyes, a bad ride. We talked a little bit, I think, when we did our live thing where we talked about you with your 100 to 1 winner. We were talking about some shit stuff, some good stuff and all those bits and pieces. For the fact that there was some really, really good performances, I think across the whole of Cheltenham week, right, I don't think there was too many. There was a few results that probably didn't go the way that I wanted them to, but I think in the main, a lot of stuff either played out by form, and the ones that maybe didn't work out exactly by the letter by form, possibly were to do with either tactics or obvious mistakes in the race. I don't think there was too many horses, bar one, that didn't really run their race without an excuse. That bar one is Hermes Allen, right? I know you're going to get wound up with me talking about it, but he was just so bad. He was never going to beat Impere Pass on what that horse did, but he was so bad. I'll be interested to see if anything ever comes out about him. But I don't think there was too many that massively underperformed. Like Mighty Potter didn't travel well apparently, but who knows with him. Most of them were there or thereabouts. Like Jerry Colomb, was just a bad ride not to get up. What do you reckon now we've had the wake of it from a punting perspective? Because let's talk about something positive. What was your biggest and most exciting one single race?
Well, the Stayers Hurdle, obviously for side of Burley. But I do agree with you. Those that probably should have won did win. I think. I thought there were a couple of races this year. Every year we talk about championship pace. Will they be able to go at championship pace? There was a few races that were very steadily run, dictated on the front end. I know Paul and Harry Cobden had a good week, didn't they? But Stage Star was just allowed to dictate that race, in the turners. I couldn't believe that what Paul Townend and Davy Russell were doing. Just they were going no gallop really. He just had it all to himself. It's the same with Honeysuckle and Love Envoy. Do you know that Honeysuckle and Love Envoy Mares Hurdle, right? Everyone's saying that it was one of the best Mares Hurdles, right? I don't really agree with that. A few horses in there didn't give their running at all. If you do the times, compare the time of the Mares Hurdle comparison to the Supreme Novice, they were 10 seconds behind them at the peak. That's 40 lengths behind from the 2 mile circuit. That's how slowly they went out in front. Honeysuckle was always well positioned. It was almost like one of those fixed Brazilian football matches, if you like, wasn't it? You know what I mean? The way the race was run, it's very, very strange. I don't know why they held up Brandy Love. So there were a few things that I thought it was a bit lower. But I think most of the races were competitive, more competitive than probably I'll give a couple of them credit for before the race. But I do think a lot of the winners that won deserve their place in the winners' enclosure. Do you know what I mean? I thought it was a fantastic week though. But yeah, Side of Burley is a standout moment for me. Obviously, I'm never going to tip 100 to 1 winner in a Grade 1 hurdle at Cheltenham Festival again, am I? So, you know what I mean? That was absolutely tremendous. I do think though, saying that T Hupu, I got him wrong. In all honesty, and I think that he's going to be the one to beat next year. That's for sure. I think he's around 10 to 1 at the moment. I think I know we're a long way in advance, but my goodness me, that's a fair price of that.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. One thing we will touch on, because I didn't want to take it away from your glorious Thursday. Blazing Cow's shit, isn't he? Never going to stay. Who's dog shit?
Well, no, I do think you're being a little bit harsh. You've got to take into consideration the bounce factor and things like that. And
yeah, it wasn't
he was fairly good at the Boyne Hurdle. There's no getting away from that. That form was actually not worked out very well at all. But I don't think that was his true running. They obviously mentioned there have been issues with him during the week. I don't really like yards like that either. That do a lot of bloody talking the week before Cheltenham. Just. I don't want to know, really. I'd rather not know. Do you know what I mean? If he is or he isn't working well, or that makes no real difference to me. I don't want to hear that noise before going into Cheltenham. But yeah, he's probably not. I mean, there was limited evidence, wasn't there, to suggest that he was going to be an open Grade 1 Stayers Hurdle winner. There was limited evidence. I suppose a lot of it was on the promise of what he could perhaps achieve, given that he was the unexposed young legs coming into it. You kind of wanted someone to take that step forward. Perhaps he didn't do that, but I can't really believe that was his absolute true running. I mean, he's well beat 11 lengths back in 6th. I think he's a little bit better than that, Dave. I don't think you should write him off just yet.
No, we'll see, because he did say after the team that Punchestown or Aintree, one of those two will be an option. A flatter track might suit him. And I
wouldn't be backing him this season though. Not now. I'd want him to have a full run at a proper season.
He needs a fence as well, surely.
Yeah, quite possibly. There's a few like that though, weren't there last week that need a fence?
How did you feel on the day seeing the silks change for him? I didn't notice it until they lined up at the start.
Yeah, no, I did notice it, but I didn't notice it until the declaration stage, the night before, and I did think that was a bit strange.
Charlie Burns advertising to the world whether he's got the handbrake on or off, innit?
Wow, it's just a bit. I don't like that. That's another thing I don't really like. Change. I wasn't really a massive fan of the change of ownership of Brandy Love either, to be honest with you. Because straight away I thought, why on earth are they doing that? And then I'm thinking maybe the Donnellys want to a broodmare down the line. Do you know what I mean? Like that, like they're thinking further ahead. They're not. For me, I want someone to be thinking about next week or whatever, not who she's going to have sex with in 2 years' time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that
worries
me. That worried me.
That's the thing, because I like to read into loads of stuff that potentially doesn't even
too
need
much
to be
stuff
there.
you like to read into.
But it's like in A.T. Thompson. Like at the beginning of the season, he was sold to that Hollywood racing syndicate, and it just makes you think, like you're not getting rid of. I know it can happen. Like it does happen. Like even like Bouverdere, didn't it? O'Sullivan Bloodstock got out of the game, goes and wins 2 champion hurdles. But like it depends who it's going to. Like if it's going to JP McManus, that's an upgrade. If it's going to a syndicate, it's not so good. I thought like Stage Star was one of the horses that, when you've touched on there that the horses deserve their credit. Like I know Paul Townend and Davy Russell got like some pelters, didn't they, for like sitting in behind and tactically getting it wrong and things like that. But it wasn't. Well, it was no more than 12 months ago when we thought that Stage Star had a little bit of a chance in a Ballymore and ran pants, and then has run a lot of pants since. But like there's been glimmers of that horse. So like I just wonder how poor the division is. But the reality, like tactically, you'd have to say that if that was the reason, right? Mighty Potter maybe didn't travel or whatever when he came over. There's always going to be some sort of excuse floating about him around Cheltenham until he wins the race there. But appreciate it. I don't really think the trip helps him, but he's still like a good enough horse. I think the way that Stage Star's gone and done it, like it's not. I wouldn't say it's as bad a race as the Brown Advisory was, because I think Jerry Colombo should have won the Brown Advisory and should have been miles clear. I don't think the ones that are behind Stage Star, you could definitely say are miles clear. I do think Mighty Potter's still a beast, but he's got a. If he's not
but he's not like
you can't.
Like you couldn't. Like I wouldn't trust him now travelling anywhere. Like in Ireland, I think. I see the good thing about when things like that happen is like I always think that if he goes to Punchestown where he won last year after flopping at Cheltenham, he is probably going to be a slightly bigger price than he should be because of that Cheltenham performance. Whereas I'm probably going to say now that he doesn't travel well, or there's something when he's coming out of Ireland that's not quite right. So I think you'll probably get a slightly bigger price than him at Punchestown than perhaps you should do because of this performance. So there is ways of trying, hopefully, get your money back in a foreseeable future. What did you make of Facile Vega? That's what I was going to ask you.
Oh, good. Just a last bit on the Mighty Potter stuff. There's talk that he might come over for Aintree, and I wonder whether they're trying to.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch him there.
But I wonder whether they're just trying to see if it is the travel thing, because there's no point running at Aintree. There's Fairy House. There's a 2.5 mile like Gold Novice Cup thing that's a decent chase race over there, where he could go for that. And then there is obviously Punchestown. So like there's plenty of options at home. If they brought him over, I feel like it would be maybe fact finding. Facile Vega just ran his race, didn't he? Just beat by a better horse.
I completely agree. Like it was a truly run race. Fractions were on par with Constitution Hill. He did not go. I've seen people say he went too soon. Not a fucking chance did he go too soon. His fractions were spot on with everything where they should have been. He was beaten by a better horse. Like that, actually beaten by a better horse. So, what do you think they'll do with him? Do you think they'll go over fences with him or not? Because I keep seeing people saying about the Arkle for him. I personally. The way Willie Mullins talks about him and relates him to Quavega, who stayed over hurdles, it wouldn't surprise me if they did stay over hurdles with him.
Yeah, there's a few options as well, isn't there? Like for the middle trip over in Ireland as opposed to over here. So I wonder if they'll do something like that, like maybe like the Hatton's Grace at the start of the season, see what he does over Midlish trip, and then do something about him there. It's the relation stuff again, isn't it? Like I know he's very, very well bred, and I know he's going to win a champion bumper, but you have to take him based on their form, didn't you? And that it didn't look like a vintage Supreme, although like, after the result doesn't look too bad. I don't know what they'll do with him. I'm lukewarm on him anyway. To be honest with you, I think I did back him on the day, and I did back Marine National without. I did think when they turned in, I thought I'd got it nailed. I thought Fasave's going to win. Marine National was going to come second. I backed fucking Diverge without Fasave as well, didn't I? So I had the first, second, and third, but only got paid out on one of the results. But I did think with him like long-term anti-post, I know people are saying that it's dead, but he was short for a long time. And I know people would have been putting him in bets or whatever, but I don't think people would have steamed into him maybe as much. A few people did get into Marine National early. The one thing with Marine National, we were watching the race, I watched like them coming up the home straight the first time as they were going in, and he didn't really look like he was settling that quickly. And then he did, just before they turned before Best Mate. He seemed to switch off a little bit. And when he was being keen, I was just saying to myself, this is why horses don't have a 100-day break for Cheltenham. Like they're too fresh to be at Cheltenham. But he did switch off. That impressed me bundles as well, because if he's that age of a horse.
I thought he was a little bit outpaced at a stage. I don't know. Maybe he's just being keen and fresh. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But it's just the way that he's come home in the end and won the race makes me feel like he's got to be like a pretty serious horse.
Yeah. Talking about relations, as you mentioned there with Facile Vega,
John Bon.
our mate John Bon, people are now speaking about him like he's an absolute certainty for the Ryanair, and I can't fucking believe it, to be honest with you. I don't know what people need to see, how many times they need to be beaten on him at the Cheltenham Festival to realise that he's a good horse, but he's just not at the very top level. And for me, I don't really see. I could be completely wrong. But I do not see in any of his runs what is suggesting that he's going to be a better horse at 2.5 miles. For me, I just think he's going to 2.5 miles because he cannot win over 2 miles, because there are better horses than him over 2 miles. I could be wrong, but I've seen so many people calling him out for the Ryanair. He's a great bet for the Ryanair. I see Johnny Deneen actually call him out as a good bet for the Ryanair. Personally, I don't see it. Do you?
Nah, and again, I read into stuff that potentially doesn't need to be there, but I was cautious of him just for the fact that of being the full brother to Duvan, because it's just lightning doesn't strike twice. But obviously, he's a weapon of horse. Let's not take away from that. He's still a very, very good horse. But that was always, I was lukewarm. And then his form didn't particularly stack up. His chase form this season didn't particularly stack up. But it was still you can still tell that he's a pretty good horse. He's never going to be not in the top 3 when it comes to these divisions. But when he goes into open company now, this is where he probably is going to get found out a bit more. I just wonder what they'll end up doing with him, because I can't see him being a Ryanair horse or a Gold Cup horse. There's plenty of weak grade 1s across the year that he can pick up. Some crappy grade 2s as well that he might be able to pick up.
Yeah,
it's JP though, isn't it? Some sort of handicap plot will be better in the future when it gets him to win the stable plate in 2025.
Fucking so Scottish. What a cunt.
Yeah, let's leave that one. I backed that Maribel Cesare or something like that, or whatever it was, Marvel Cesare or whatever it was, Rachel Blackmore and Henry de Bromé, because I thought it was another Replutard. Thought they'd got this one set right up for a first spin and a handicap, and it got back from 25s into 7s, I think. It travelled like a tank as they turned in, and then was just absolute dog shit. But it was one of those. I backed it, didn't put it up on the CheltenhamFestival.net videos, and I had it recorded, and I was like, actually, you know what, I'll leave it for something else. It's one of them when they turned up, I was like, no, I knew I was right, and then when it gets beat, I thought, never said it, did I? Didn't tell anyone about that one.
It didn't happen, did it? It didn't happen. Save the embarrassment.
I reckon there's plenty of decent Cheltenham stuff. I was there on the Friday, had a few beers. For Affadale Fury, I was probably stupid because I was
that was a great shout. You have not got the credit you deserve for that. That was a hell of a shout. Absolutely a hell of a shout.
He almost won as well. I backed him at 310 on the machine just before the off for 50 quid, so there was £15,000 worth of potential profit on there. And then I put a lay in at even money, and he touched 2.2, but I put a lay in at even money for £5,000. So it wasn't even necessarily greedy. I was I was thinking I think he'll run well, but it's not going to happen. And if he gets to even money, then I'm happy to chop someone out. Yeah, so 2.2 he traded at. But
when that happens, David, surely there's a case to say that you should have had at least a sports book each way bet on him,
yeah,
and then sort of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was bad on it. Because the thing is, he was 80-1 when I wrote the column. I looked at the night before he was down to 40s, and it was a bit like Cider Bird again. You tip him at 100, I back him. When he's 25-1, I've missed the boat. Even though you've never really missed the boat, you still get on him, didn't you? And then I saw he was 150 when I looked up on one of the bookies there, and I was like, fuck off. And then, you know what it's like at Cheltenham. You can't get on anything. The only thing I can bet on at Cheltenham is the exchange. So if I go to the bookies and they're giving me a fifth of the odds the first 3 and bet 365 are paying first 6, I'm not betting each way with the bookies on the course. So
do you reckon they did it on purpose, that signal thing?
No, I don't know. I think it's just because there's 60 or 70,000 people trying to bet in there. I had 5G and I couldn't even make phone calls and stuff. But yeah, it was one of them. I was just a bit stupid because I didn't back him each way at the beginning of the day. I should have done. Someone messaged on the YouTube channel and said that they backed him just to place top 6 without the win, and he was 22-1 on that. So that's the sort of bet where I should have been having a couple of £100 on that. Been annoyed, well, not annoyed because he came second, but you know what I mean. I made a mistake on that, so that was annoying. But I got stuck into Galopin de Champs, and I was very, very, very close. Right, I said to my dad on the way down, in my lifetime, I remember the Cowboy Stars, Denmans, bit of Best Mates, probably when I first started against my dad was talking about that. He, in his lifetime, really, Best Mate was one that he used to get stuck into, but Coneygree, right, the year that he won it, my dad could not have it that anything else was going to win the Gold Cup. And I've never had that feeling before. I always look at the Gold Cup as it's a hard race, it's competitive. There might be one I've got a bit of a keen fancy on. But champion hurdles, stairs, hurdles, champion chases, right? We've seen some beasts over that. Like even like when Alta was going to win, it was Sprinter Sacra, Side of Grugy, your balls deep, they're going to win. Even when Duvan did his hip, they're going to win the champion chase. Stairs, hurdles, we've had like the generation of big bucks in there. Like they're horses you know are going to win. Champion hurdles, we've had Forheen, Annie Powers, a lot. I can't remember a Gold Cup where I've just thought to myself, this is ridiculous. Like, it just wins. Like it does. I know you can say that a horse can fall and all that sort of stuff, but the other horses could all fall as well. Like it was just a shoe-in. And when he was 2-1 on the Tuesday, I wanted to just steam in, but I thought if he's 2-1 now, I might get some 9-4.
Yeah,
so I had like a good
thought.
bet on him, and then I ended up having some more on because Bet 365 boosted to 9-4. So I managed to message a few people and get some money on that. And then I said to my dad when I was on the race course, if anyone offers me 7-4 on the course, I'm gonna have a chunk on him. I think I ended up having. I'd had quite a few guineas. I think I ended up having like just over £1,000 on him, and most of that was at 2-1 or bigger. And then when I was on course, like if I'd have got 7-4, me and my dad walked down there. I said I'll have another grand on him, and I was like, I felt like a tiny bit reckless because like within my level of stakes, like there's only so certain you can get on something. I was just thinking like maybe I'm just being stupid, so I didn't. I showed some discipline within the beers. But I still do regret. I don't regret it.
You must have been having a little bit of a wobble after like going out on the second circuit.
No, I think as well.
Things didn't go right for him at all, did they?
No,
like,
but I think
did.
But I think again from like a staking perspective, because there was a part of me that wanted to have a chunk on him. There was a part of me that was like, okay, I feel all right if he's like not travelling so well because I've not had as much on. So almost whatever the result was would have been kind of like a win. Obviously, it's better if he does go and win. But I never had any like a moment's doubt of him. He's just a tank. The thing is, when he travelled up against Brave Man's Game. And then he goes and wins it. When I watched it there, in my mind, he's pulled a few lengths clear of Brave Man's Game. When I've watched it back, it's like when Noble Yates did that at Aintree, you know, when he just jumped in at the end and just flew past him. But Galloping Deschamps has done that in the Gold Cup on his first try over the trip.
Oh, that's mad. He only touched 4.5 as well in running.
Yeah.
Like, considering he was held out of the rear field, he hit a few fences. The horses were sort of falling into his lap a little bit. Nothing really went right. Brave Man's Game was well placed. Like if he was going to underperform, it was going to be Brave Man's Game, wasn't it? That was going to pick up the pieces. And he only touched 4.5. So like there was a lot of confidence behind him. I mean, I was obviously on him as well, and I backed Brave Man's Game each way. Only 50 quid each way, but I backed Galloping Deschamps for about 400 or 500 quid. But they were just miles better than anything else, like including Brave Man's Game. And give him his credit. I'm not entirely convinced now that he probably wants an uphill finish. If it was a flat finish, I think it would have been a closer contest because obviously they jumped the last together. He's gone 2 lengths up, and at the line he's 7 lengths up. Like it was a really, really good performance. I don't know. There's nothing coming out of that novice division last year where I would say that they could even trouble him. So,
I don't think anything will ever like trouble him because like I think he's a beast. I genuinely do think Jerry Colombe's going to come out of Cheltenham in like fairly good light because the speed that he showed towards the end. I've seen a couple of people put like sectionally type stuff up there. I think he finished quite strongly and that he made up so much ground to get up. You know, like when Champ did actually go and win an RSA. I'll be interested to see if I stuck them two like side by side. I know it's different ground and all that sort of stuff, but like the amount of ground that he made up on the finish there, I think he's come out of the race all right. He's got to step up though, isn't he?
Who's he made the ground up on though?
Yeah, very true. But we'll see, won't we? We'll see what the novices do when they go up. But yeah, probably not. We all thought Mighty Pop was going to be the next Gold Cup horse, and he's gone. So just have it all on Deschamps. Let's get in with the rant, I reckon, because we're 20 odd minutes in, and if anyone is watching, they've probably left by now. Oh, we've got a few little messages out there. Go on, the boys. It also says on the YouTube channel, now would be a good time to insert some ads. You can click a little button, insert ad. I think I've just put an advert on. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know.
Sorry about that. He knows what he's doing. He's monetising it.
Right, I've skipped us over to rant. I'm going to play it through the speakers. We've got one audio clip that's worthy of me playing, and this gentleman, Boz, has been given his £25 free bet already. I'm going to stick it up on the screen, the £25 bet that I've put on. But if I start playing it, you have to let me know if you can hear it.
Hey, Ranting and Racing, you know the feeling when everything's in alignment, everything's going well. You've got a fourfold, £10 free bet, and all the three have got up, and you've just got one leg. And the last leg is Mighty Potter. And you think to yourself, shall I cash out or shall I let this one go?
You can't hear it?
No. See, look, this is why they don't send them in, because we're not professionals at this yet, are we?
No, I can play it louder on my speaker and then do the.
Do you want me to get it?
Yeah, if you don't mind, it'd be easy, wouldn't it? I'll read the one that didn't win because we've got one that's come in, another one that's worth going in. It's from Michael Walker. Firstly, racing. Wow, what a bloody insane 4 days. Constitution Hill lit the fire and Honeysuckle burnt the house down. Beautifully written. Impero Pass, Will Wacker, Nergamine and Debt lit up Wednesday. Mighty Potter showed he ain't the superstar people believe he is, and Shishkin showed he scores when he wants.
Well, I think that's a bit harsh on Mighty Potter. Like, no, it was.
Agreed.
Like,
let him finish.
Wow.
The next line's the best bit. Friday saw one of the most confident Gold Cup risers I've seen and confirmed Galopin Deschamps is a fucking monster. Plus, I met Mr. Cheltenham himself. Go on, the boys. I met a few people to be at Cheltenham, and I really appreciate everyone coming up. Some lads have got me as their WhatsApp group icon, and they took a picture, and now I'm in the WhatsApp group icon with all of them. Go on, the boys. I mean, it's like a little bit strange, but at the same time, cheers. Now the rant. What the fuck do we do after that? Like, this is the worst hangover ever. Paddy's kicking off with Tony Mullins and the world's trying to predict where Constitution Hill runs this time. Like, the worst come down ever. Help me. Quality tip and content again from you guys has led to a very profitable week. Cheers, lads. I mean, it's true, innit? What do you do? Like, do you have a go-to thing after Cheltenham that you do, or does it depend how you felt the week's gone? Because I try and just switch off a little bit for a few days and not really give a shit about what's going on. And I feel like, because everyone else, it seems like, is doing the same, I just calm down and then wait for Aintree to kick in. Normally give myself about a week, probably.
I tend to waste money on the Midlands National on the Saturday. I never win at that meeting, so I don't know why I continue to have a bet on the Saturday after Cheltenham. That'll stop next year. And then I have a break because obviously it's very draining, isn't it? Like you work, you get your head in a form book for the last 3 months, etc., and it's extremely draining. So yeah, I have a couple of days off. But I'm not very good at having time off, as you know, Dave. I've been looking back at Cheltenham today, obviously, and I'm itching to get back. I'm really looking forward to Aintree, I must admit.
Same.
Aintree,
Fairy House and Punchestown will be good, I think, all three of them.
Yeah, but Aintree in particular, because I think there's a lot of horses at Cheltenham who ran really well, but perhaps are better suited to Aintree and have proven form at Aintree previously as well. So I'm hoping that they're going to sort of roll on. What I normally do when it comes to Aintree is normally the horses that let me down during the week in the handicaps, if I stick with them at Aintree, normally they sort of vindicate me a little bit. Langadan, for example, last year. So I'm hoping, like, for example, I'm hoping My Eye. Will go and win at Aintree. I do think there's a victory in him. Chasing home 3 Stroke Life last year. I know he missed Cheltenham last year. I'm hoping he can come out of this meeting quite well. I think he'll go well at Aintree, but I think there's a lot. Like that bowl, the Betway Bowl. It was a Betway Bowl. That's going to be quite good. If Shishkin goes there, Conflated goes there, I think that'll be a proper tear up. So, yes, there's loads of good racing to come before the season's out just yet, isn't there?
Definitely. So yeah, look, 4 weeks this year rather than the normal 3 in it. So that again gives us the time to get a little bit more of a break, doesn't it? Everyone's talking about flat, aren't they? I might start having a look at that stuff. Anyway, have you got the voice note up?
No. Once I download it, I can't seem to download it again, or I can't seem to find it. So,
I mean, this is poor, innit? I've got it on here. Maybe I just need to play it really loud. I feel like the audio capture probably goes out for everyone else to hear.
No. Definitely doesn't. Oh, I got it. Here we go.
Racing, you know the feeling when everything's in alignment, everything's going well. You've got a 4-fold, £10 free bet, and all the 3 have got up, and you've just got 1 leg. And the last leg is Mighty Potter. And you think to yourself, shall I cash out or shall I let this one go? I'm thinking, I'll wait till the morning, see what happens. Banbridge gets taken out for the ground. So I'm thinking, I don't need to cash this one out. This is a done deal. David Russell is going to get the Mighty Potter, the Mighty Win, and I'm going to get the 4-fold up, giving me a nice little tickle of 1,200 quid. And then what happens? David Russell, for some reason, decides to fall asleep on the horse, lets Cobden go from the front, seems to ride far too wide in the home straight, and the rest is history. The Mighty Potter was not so mighty on the day. But it's pocket talk for me, and I'll fight another day. There you go. Cheers.
Oh, mate. The thing is, the reason...
What was the bit at the end when he went,
It's just, fuck's sake. You know, do you know what? If anything, I think it was just like, oh, good, yeah, I got that on my system. Now it's gone on it. The thing is that it resonates anyway because there was plenty of results that probably did people. We were all like, I think everyone was like fairly keen on Mighty Pot anyway, weren't they? So if
you know what, right? I went off it. I've got to be honest, right? I've got to be honest. I've got to say it, right? I fancied him all year, like you did. I was probably put onto him a little bit more than I kind of wanted to be put onto him by you.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm not blaming you.
No, I did. I forced it.
The closer I got to the meeting, right? The closer I got to it, when I saw Banbridge come out and I saw him at 8 to 11 on, and all I could see on Twitter was a sea of Mighty Potter's a certainty, Mighty Potter's a good thing, Mighty Potter's this, and I'm thinking, fuck. Every fucker and their dog fancies this, and I thought, I am concerned. Like I am worried that he's something's just not going to go right because of how I hate it, Dave. When so many people fancy the same horse, you know that, and I just think it's a bad omen because not every fucker can be right. Do you know what I mean? For whatever reason.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing with it is, right, I did obviously do the videos like the day before, a couple of days before, telling people what I've staked and everything. And it doesn't make a difference to the result, right? Whether it had been 5 to 1 before the offer, it had been 8 to 11, like he got beat. But I touched on the fact that when we talked about like 3 or 4 to 1 that it was 4 to 1 we were talking about before. Like it was just the wrong price because like bar him not getting Cheltenham, the way that it was going to fall the line, like he was going to go off 5 to 4 or shorter.
Yeah.
When it got to closer to Cheltenham, like after the DRF, and he was like a 5 to 4 poke. I didn't want to plough into and have more on. Like Delta Work, I had a good bet on. Like Gallop into Champ, I would happy to be like get stuck into it at the shorter prices, but he was just priced a bit too short. And I know what it's like when you stick the Accas on or people get stuck in, they want to do it. But it felt like that, didn't it? I think Thursday was one of those days where people just like it's the bookies. It's on the bookie side. Let's try and find the best favourite on Thursday.
Do you know what though? I couldn't believe it though because like the bookies were so keen to take on Mighty Potter and Shishkin, and I was thinking, you're fucking mental. Like these are good. Like obviously, other than the slight concern that everybody was on Mighty Potter,
yeah, they're
like
good
Shishkin
horses.
in particular. Like I thought it was a good thing, but these bookies seem so confident about getting these beat. I couldn't believe it. So are you saying that Boz was wrong to put this horse in his ACCA for the week?
No, he did exactly the right thing. The most painful thing is I replied back to him and I asked him, do you remember what the cash outs were? Because again, not that it necessarily matters, but just like to scrape the value of stuff that's in there. Let me see if I can peel it up. So he said the cash out from memory was 422 quid. So he was getting 7 to 4 on a 4 to 6 shot. So from the percentages they're offering, right? It's rank, isn't it?
It is rank, yeah.
And then he said he considered a hedge with 100 quid on Appreciate It and £50 each way on Stage Star, but because the runners went down to just first 2 places, I think.
Yeah.
He decided to go against it and just leave it. And to be fair, that when he mentioned it in the thing, you can hear it in his voice, can't you? You can hear you've got the 3 legs up on the Tuesday. You've got 2 days to wait and see what's going to happen. You're contemplating whether you're going to cash out or not. You're thinking about trading. Banbridge comes out, the second favourite. You think, oh fuck it, this is my time to shine, isn't it?
Yeah, good thing now, don't you? Like,
and that's where it does get hard. But I think he made a few
that's
quid
just
across
pure
the week.
hard luck. That's just unlucky. That is like, there's nothing you can do about that, boss.
So
mate.
anyway,
That's just unlucky.
he got the 25 quid. He wanted £25 on Karat's round, but I've stuck it on my bet freezers 5 because they're non-runner, no bet. And it's on. I've stuck it up on the screen. So Boz, when he wins, I'll give you your 200 quid. I might take the stake off. No, I won't. You got 200 quid when Karat's round wins.
So tight. You don't even. I can't believe you're giving away £25 free bets. So you can't even pay fucking $7.99 for Zoom.
Actually, that's a point. Actually, Boz, I need to take $7.99 off that bet, mate. We've gone over the 40 minutes tonight. Right, I've got a couple of rants.
Oh, here we go.
Mine are very specific to Cheltenham last week.
Okay. Is this about you being on course, being drunk, or?
No. Three. Oh, do you know what? There is another one I'll bring up from Cheltenham, right? So there's 4 things I'm going to moan about. Okay. 2 of them are the same subject, which are jockeys. Patrick Townend. Patrick Mullins. I've always liked him as a jockey, right? I probably gave him more credit than he deserved for a period, but then he started to shine a bit more and was good. I think he's on his way out. Like what he did at Cheltenham this year was dog shit as far as I'm concerned. I know it's easy to criticise people when you're sat as like an armchair jockey, but I thought he was particularly poor this year, especially just the lazy hanging out the back and just picking off the pieces. It almost feels like he knows that he's going to have like a finish where it's going to look like he's doing something. I don't know. I wasn't very taken by his riding this year, and I just think he's better than that. Maybe he wasn't on the right horses, but I think he had a couple of chances to do better than he did. And Davy Russell, I think plenty of people have seen that as well. Like he was pretty poor. Jordan Gainford was shit on Jerry Colomb as well. Like it's within those things there. Like some of them wouldn't have affected the results too much. Like Patrick was very lucky to get Gareth Demesden up, I think. But I still think if Marlon Mission hadn't have fallen, he would have won the race anyway. So he got a little bit of luck to go and get a win. But it just annoyed me more than anything.
What was this thing about Davy Russell standing down because he said he was sore or something, and like Michael O'Leary was taken a bit back by it, wasn't he? Do you think he was having a bit of a sulk?
Maybe, but that was on the Friday, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think so.
Well, he'd been shit all week.
I can't remember what happened up past 20 past 11 on Friday, really. But so they're like the jockey ones because like I can forgive any jockey like a bad ride. Yeah. When they're getting a handful of them wrong, it does get annoying. But it's not none of it's particularly pocket talk on them. They may have cost me a few quid independently, but like they got beat on the horses that should have got beat. I don't think it would have affected too many of the results. But it's just still annoying when they don't get him into a race.
Do you think like Davy Russell for me, right? He was the only jockey really that bugged me all week, to be honest, because his ride on particularly on the Thursday, his ride on Mighty Potter, I thought he was just reining back after every fence. He was making ground, pulling him back. Didn't seem to be able to work out the pace of the race. For some reason, got himself stuck in a pocket on the rail. What seems to always want to do everything a little bit stylish, and Mighty Potter's not that horse, so that was a bit strange. And then his interview after coming out and saying, well, he just was beaten, like, that was probably just him. Like, he's just been beaten. Like, that's absolute nonsense. And then, I don't know if you saw the ride on Maxim in the Potemps, but again, he gave him a mountain to do, held up at the rear of the field. He came swinging right round the wide outside. And he's probably done his running to get to where he got to, because he almost looked like he was hitting the front coming to the last. He jumps the last, he doesn't even pull the stick through. He didn't even pull the stick through, he just eased off him. And that sort of thing annoys me, because at the last, you're jumping the last in contention. You'd like to think that another 150 yards, you're going to be there or thereabouts. But maybe the horse gave his run in there. But to not even ask for a real effort at the Cheltenham Festival is, that belongs at Southwell on a Tuesday, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Like that just really annoyed me that he didn't even bother giving him a ride. But
you trust them, didn't you? You trust that they know better than we do. But it is that when you trust them and you're watching it 4 days on the spin, you're watching 3 or 4 rides every single day, and you're seeing that the same sort of attitude often. Just seems a bit lazy. But I suppose it shows the testament to what they have to do, like the mental strength and how to keep confident and stuff. Because I remember the Jumps Boys documentary that was done years ago. It follows Davy Russell, Ruby Walsh and their Barry Geraghty. Like, Davy Russell proper beats himself up when he gets a mistake wrong, he does something wrong. And I feel like potentially there with Cheltenham and Michael O'Leary's comments, which are just balmy to say that shit before Cheltenham.
Yeah, that was stupid from Michael O'Leary.
But I do feel like I felt sorry watching that Jumps Boys thing, because it gave me a bit more respect for Davy Russell in the fact that he does, I think he wants to try his best, but I think for someone that clearly has got a lot of ability, he doesn't have any confidence in himself in the slightest. I think he just almost just.
You're making me feel fucking guilty now, so move on.
So they were those two things. The other one, I was one bone. Oh yeah, I don't know what the bonus one was. The one that sort of came to me just then. They dropped the dress code.
Yeah.
Oh my god, mate! Like, I've been to Cheltenham for a long time, right? And I've been to quite a few flat fixtures as well. I've very rarely, if ever, seen people drinking, and when I say drink people, right, I would say more than not, drinking bottles of beer, plastic cups of Guinness and beer and cans and all that sort of stuff on the walk from Cheltenham town into the racecourse, right? It's one of the best parts of going to Cheltenham Festival, having a few beers in the town, walking through Prestbury Park, going up the hill towards Cheltenham, it's all part of it. I never used to see people getting smashed. This year, me and my dad drove into town centre to get parked. There was just people on every street corner just with a crate of Fosters. And because the dress code's relaxed as well, they're not even necessarily dressed up smart. They're just people in jeans and T-shirts with holes and stuff in trainers.
So you don't mind if people are all over the street getting absolutely trashed, but as long as they're dressed smart. Is that what you're saying?
I feel like the dress code being laxed has afforded the people that would normally be kept out because they don't want to make the effort to go to racing.
Careful! This is dangerous ground. You're on thin ice here, son.
But
you want the dress code back to keep the riffraff out, is what you're saying?
No. I want there to, well, maybe it's not. I don't mind who's at the racecourse, right? But it's one of them, right, where things are in place for like a potential reason, aren't they? It's like the Cheltenham Town Centre, right? Cheltenham is a wonderful place for allowing us to have the Cheltenham Festival every single year. They had these people up the street this year, love our turf type things, just say to people, stop pissing in the street outside people's houses. Like, it's a joke. Like, I have some respect. They put Portaloos and all that sort of stuff out there.
Absolutely.
And I know when you get drunk, it's different, innit? But like I say there, like, this was at like 10:15 in the morning, and like people are like crates deep of Fosters. The thing is, they're sat outside a pub because the pub's playing music. Just go in the pub and buy a pint like it's part of it. I know people say, yeah, but it costs too much money. Well, if you can't afford to do it, don't go then. Doesn't make it okay just to be a skank. But yeah,
okay, hold on. Let me just play devil's advocate with that quickly, because like I went to Goodwood last year, right? And I bought a ticket into the enclosure, into the whatever enclosure it was, right? And I was at home in the office, and I backed a couple of horses that were running there that afternoon. I thought, right, it's only down the road from me, 20 minutes or so. I'm going to go over there, right? Chucked on a jacket. It's summer. Chucked on a jacket, shirt, trousers, right? Goes over there, rocks up, parks up, does that fucking god-awful walk all the way from the car park, all the way down to the course. I gets there, shows me a ticket, and she says, I'm sorry, you can't go in this enclosure because you're not wearing a tie. I said, it's Tuesday afternoon. I said, how many walk-ups are you getting? Like, can you really afford to be turning people away just because I'm not wearing a tie? She called a manager over and said, I'm sorry, we can't let you in because you're not wearing a tie. I said, okay, can I just downgrade my ticket to the other enclosure then? I'm sorry, we can't downgrade tickets. You'll have to buy another ticket for the lesser enclosure, or because I wasn't wearing a tie.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's bad.
In that regard, for people that just want to rock up to the race course, I think the relaxer dress code is brilliant.
I do agree, because it's like those girls that were at Sandown, wasn't it? They're in white trainers, you wouldn't even know they're trainers, but they're not allowed in wearing trainers, whereas blokes can go in with trainers because they were trying to go in the Premier, wasn't it? But I'm happy for them to relax it, but it still annoys me. I think it's because I'm precious because it's Cheltenham Festival, right? It's like going to your mate's wedding, innit? And they haven't said there's a dress code, and then you're just drinking a can of Foster's outside the reception because you can't be asked to buy a beer. Like, you go to those occasions and you know what you're getting yourself in for, is what I'm trying to get at. And it annoyed me because like in the summer it's different, right? The Derby has the fairground enclosure in the middle, doesn't it? It's got like a picnic enclosure. That's what the flat meetings are. Like that's part of what it is, isn't it? Like bring your own booze type stuff. Cheltenham, when it's like raining on a Wednesday type weather and you're outside in the street in a bus shelter getting smashed before you're going into Cheltenham, like I don't know, I
kind of feel that your issue is drinking on the streets as opposed to what they're wearing.
Oh yeah, no, 100% it's the drinking on the street stuff, because you know what happens, right? Like one person does it, someone else, like everyone's thinking it, right? Everyone's thinking, should we get a couple of cans to walk? And when not many people are doing it, no one does it. I just feel like this year there must have been more people doing it, because I've never seen so many people. There was fuck tons of them doing it.
Do you know what? I didn't know that you had such a thing about this, because when we met up to go to the Derby Awards, I went into the wherever it was in the Victoria train station, got four cans of Crony to come and meet you outside the train station. Thought, if we're gonna have a nice walk up, and it was a walk, wasn't it? It was like a 20-minute walk. I thought we're gonna have a beer on the way, and you told me off outside, and I had to give my beers, point can Kronenbergs that I just paid over the odds for in the train station, to a guy that was emptying the bins, and said, have one of these when you finish work, mate. Because you weren't happy about me having them, were you?
No, but I wasn't happy. It's only because, right, if we were dressed like these people were outside Cheltenham, I'd have been drinking the cans. When you're suited and booted and dressed up and you're drinking cans as you walk down to the street, like, it's embarrassing, isn't it? I know anyone...
Right, come on, what's your last rant?
I can't even really remember now. It was something else to do with being at Cheltenham, but it wasn't that much of a rant anyway. Have you got anything you want to get off your chest?
Yes, but I can't. You know I can't. I'll tell you what we'll speak about quickly. Actually, my missus we was going to go to Gold Cup Day, weren't we? I texted you and said, look, we've had a good week. We're going to come out to Gold Cup Day. And but there were no tickets. It was all sold out. And she, for whatever reason, she decides to go on Twitter and start looking for tickets. And there's loads. She goes to me, there's loads of people selling tickets. I said, yeah, I suspect they are. I bet they're all they've got unlimited tickets. A lot of these people, haven't they? And she went, I've just messaged someone. We've got 2 tickets, and they've asked me to send the money. I said, don't you send that money. You make sure you get that ticket emailed to you first. And she went, well, I'll send them half of it. And then they only wanted 80 quid. I think she sent 50 quid. She sent 50 quid. And they said, send us 50 quid and then we'll send you the tickets. She sent them 50 quid. And they even asked through that Cash App thing. So that's a dodge deal, don't you, when they're asking for that, because you can't get your money back, right? And she sent the money, and then the guy was like, yeah, I'll send you the tickets when I finish work at 11 o'clock at night. My missus. I told her it was a scam, right? My missus waited up to 11:02 and then messaged him and said, can you send the tickets for it now?
Oh, I can't though. It's not. It's just nasty. Isn't
You fucking blocked her. Oh, she has been distraught about it for days. I said, wow, lessons learned. You're in the real world now, girl.
It is a lesson. I just hate that people are just scumbags, aren't they? Right. Speaking of scumbags, let's go on to the questions from the crowd. I'll skim through them. We've got quite a few minutes to be fair, but I'm conscious of time and I don't want to stay up much longer, to be honest. Yeah. The cross country. The cross country.
You're fucking ruthless tonight.
I know. It's because I've remembered what the rant was, and it's when it comes to content towards Cheltenham and everyone hiding the fact of what they've put up and just glossing over it, saying, oh, another great Cheltenham festival, when you think you haven't fucking had a winner all week, have you? But we'll leave that, won't we? Because it's fine. Say you're the best tipster in the world. Anyway, the cross country at the festival needs to be a handicap as Grade 1 winners coming in to make it clear the race boring opinions. Someone said it. Who was it? Someone said, maybe it was Paul Keaton. No, I don't know. Someone said basically like it's a great race for punters. Ruby Walsh, maybe it was. I love the fact like there's potentially a race every year where like Tiger Roll and all that sort of stuff. There's a horse.
Just absolute certainty.
Oh yeah, like that. But like everyone at Cheltenham's on the horse, or the horses. If there's a couple of them, like everyone's probably backed Galvin and like Delta Work, whatever. Like it just feels like a whole. This is the punters versus the bookies type race. Yeah, when it goes into a handicap, you'll get some smug little twat that's got some inside information that goes and wins it. And all the good guys like us that have put the effort in have been judging it on their best efforts. But the thing is, the nuts thing is, when you look at like Delta Work or any of them, like Tiger Roll and stuff, when they go and get beaten by like 40 lengths, Gordon comes out as like perfect prep run, and you think if that's a handicap, you're not touching it, are you? But because it's the cross country and it's an open race, everyone's like, yeah, that was a good prep run actually. The way he clattered that third last, I loved that in him. I love keep the cross country as that. Fuck, we've got enough shit handicaps, and I can't get any of them right anyway. Any anti-post bets on the Grand National? I've not got stuck in yet. Enjoy Delan, our mate Aaron messaged me because I think JP put him away a little bit, and he's 100-1. He thinks he's a stupid price.
Okay, interesting. So, I haven't looked at it yet either.
We'll leave that as that. Yes. Someone called Anthony Phillips in the comments and said, "Hi, it's Scott from Friday. Nice meeting you, dude. Nice meeting you, Scott." Anthony Phillips, though, got like an alias. Can't trust anyone. Ben Knight, Segura, do you feel you had a better chance going back over hurdles with the stairs? I can't see him win at Cheltenham over fences. Back over hurdles, do you reckon?
He doesn't stay 3 miles. He didn't want a yard more than the Ballymore trip over 2 mile 5. If you couldn't see that he's a non-stayer in the Brown Advisory, I honestly don't know what to tell you, because he's just a non-stayer. He's tripless. He's probably not good enough over 2 miles, and he's not good enough over 3. Could be a Ryanair horse. That'd be interesting, actually. Ryanair.
Interesting. Oh, someone's complaining about the adverts, but I wonder if that's when I click the button about the adverts. I feel bad. There were a couple of things that people were commenting saying there's way too many adverts on there.
Yeah, you don't feel bad. You're coining it in through them adverts.
No, I'll tell you the truth, right? So I put a video up for the day one thing. I monetized it, and it has mid-rolls in there. I go through and I'll pick like breaks. So I might do it before each race starts, because I feel like if you watch a normal TV, there's an advert, you can sit with it, can't you? If I turn them off, YouTube just put them in anyway, but I don't get the money. It's like it's ranked. I did it with my videos. I turned monetization off for 10 videos in a row, and some people were still commenting saying these fucking adverts. I was like, I haven't even got them on there. And then I watched the video on my laptop, and I was like, there's fucking adverts on here. Googled it, and if you'd like, even if you don't make yourself monetized but you're eligible, YouTube will do it. and then potentially on some of the videos you've turned off, they'll just stick ads on there anyway. So,
Yeah,
bollocks
if you
to all of you,
believe
get
that,
it for free.
if you believe that, you'll believe Sir Gerard wins the Stayers next year.
I'm gonna put a link to my Cash App below. just skip the adverts. Speak to your wife for 5 minutes. This is not good, is it? The viewing figures are going down. There's loads. There's a lot of abuse for Mighty Potter as well. Mighty
Come on,
Water.
let's hear it. Get them all out. Read them all.
Eddie O'Hearn is back, banned for 10 years. He will shine again on the Lingfield All Weather.
Who?
Eddie O'Hearn.
What's that?
You asked me to read the comments out. Oh.
What?
Shishkin's done one of the boys in here for a £2,000 fourfold with a Nergamine in Pere Pass and Galloping.
Oh.
They're the painful
What a
ones.
fourfold that is.
I know, but that's the painful ones, in it? When it's like the middle leg of something. When it's the last leg, like Boz is in the ranting thing, you notice it so much more. I'll say it again. I'll say it in every video if we have to do it. When Josie's order got done by any currency, and I went back and worked out how much it cost me. Because it was in the middle of the week, I had no idea. Then I went back and I was like, genuinely in Ackers, because I had a few dreamers back then. It's £24,000 it cost me. Josie's order's getting done by a drugged up mule. Fuck you, Martin Brazil. It's about it. Someone had some forecasts up just by betting numbers. I like a bit of that. Oh,
What? What? Don't leave me in the dark. Come on, read them out.
Michael Walker. They had a relaxed dress code in Erotacats. No one had any clothes on. That's a place, right? The biggest scam in the world. They literally come from all over the country because I know boys from Cheltenham have just got too much cash on the horn on, and they literally just walk around just contactless $4 or $5 see you later, mate. Couldn't give a fuck because they'll never see anyone again. Well, actually, speaking of which, it's time for me to announce next week's sponsors: Erotacats, Cheltenham. Free entry for every subscriber. Let's move on. Let's keep away from the crowd. Right, so the week ahead, right? The reason I put this in is because going forward, we will start making plans of what's coming up. We have got Aintree. There is some Fairyhouse. There is some Punchestown. And hopefully, I think we'll try and carry this on through the season. We'll see how we go through the flat stuff, because I'm going to try and dapple a little bit. I do want to get to a couple of flat meetings this year as well, like the Ebor meeting at York, a couple of other biggies. I've done like the Derby. I've done quite a few fixtures, to be fair. And I want to try and get my hand in a little bit, because I want to see if I could be similar to like you. There's plenty of people that can have some knowledge in both spheres and handle like the 12 months of relentless effort going in. And for Cheltenham this year, right, I've put in less effort than I would normally do, just because of circumstances and stuff that's going on. And it does make a difference to how much money you can make. But I feel like because I've had less input into like the National Hunt season, I'm not as drained as I would normally be at this point from like a racing perspective. Like I'm quite excited to use the escapism of flat racing, so we might get stuck into there. What's your plans for the foreseeable? When are you going to start shoving loads of content out again from GG Betfair and backing winners again?
Well, I'm not on the GG podcast this week. That's up in the air about whether I will or will not be on there. But I will be shoving content out from Thursday, so Daily Column back Thursday. For Friday's racing, so not for Thursday's racing. Is it for Thursday? I don't know. It might be for Thursday's racing. We are doing a Cheltenham review tomorrow for Betfair. Cheltenham Only Better, last one for Cheltenham Only Better, which is going to be interesting to see Jerry and give him some stick about his beloved John Bon. And and the ball's just going to keep rolling now until the end of the year. So that's it. That's the only break I have. A couple of days off, and that's it. Like I'm obviously going on my stag do in June, so a couple of days off there. But that's it. Like literally, just be rolling straight through now. I don't know what the future holds me at the moment. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who wants me, who doesn't want me.
Jesus, mate, everyone wants you. I feel like this is like there's lots of opportunities when there's good times in there. But if you look at the trajectory of us at Chepstow with your missus phoning it on a old Nokia or whatever it was to like, well, I mean, now it's not much better, to be honest with you. I'm doing this on a shitty laptop with my Princess Leia headphones on. But from your perspective, every year you've just got bigger and stronger. So no doubt there'll be some good stuff that comes up. That Racing Only Better, to be fair, I'm lukewarm when it comes to new things that go out there, because it's a very saturated market, innit? And there's got to be some sort of characters or something about people that like add some sort of value, like a bit of a difference or some extra honesty or I don't know, something in there. That's genuinely been quite a good watch. I would admit, when I first started watching, I used to go on the YouTube one and just skip down the bottom until I saw your mouth open and just listen to your bits. But then I started to watch a few of the clips on the Twitter stuff, and there was some good like back and forth stuff with it. So I'll be interested to see the review stuff. They need to get you on one of them for the flat as well.
Yeah, well, like I say, we'll see what happens. Like everyone knows I'm available, so if they want to ask me and do some stuff, then we'll see what they offer. We'll see what it is, and then take a look at it and see where we go from there. But yeah, the Cheltenham Only Better thing's been fantastic, to be honest. Like Meg's come so far in such a short space of time. Like I think she'll be first to admit that when she first started, that she was obviously a bit nervous, never done a podcast or anything before. So, but now she's absolutely flying. Like even on at the races and that, she's doing really well.
Yeah, the TV stuff. Because when I remember at Sandown once, and I mean she's never going to hear this, so she won't thank me for saying anyway. But she was like shocking on the telly, as in like was struggling to like get her words out and all that sort of stuff. So it was like the level of like types of nerves that like someone like I would have. So obviously it's like a mere mortal, but I didn't feel like she was really ready to be thrown into like ITV, the main stage TV punditry. But like legitimately within like a few months of seeing her, she gets into being like better now. Yeah, oh yeah, she's made it, and that's the difference sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes people need the break to be able to push themselves through it.
But the one thing I will say about Meg is that she is not afraid of hard work. Like whenever we're doing this Cheltenham Only Better podcast, like she is literally before we're going out, she is making notes, she's asking questions, she is like buzzing around the bloody Zoom, like making sure everything's right and direction is correct and all that. Like she does really put the effort in. I know a lot of people say that like she kind of forgot where she is because of her dad or whatever, and they can make their own minds up about that. But I know firsthand that she does work extremely hard, and like that's a good quality in someone. And Jerry's brilliant. Like he's a very good judge. Like he, like it obviously didn't come off, but like he put out Theatre Glory for the mayor's hurdle before she was even entered in it. Like before after she was beaten actually at Kempton in the Lanzarote, he put her up then. Like he has some brilliant inside like knowledge. Obviously he's in the Hendo yard, and like some of the stuff that he comes out with is just fantastic to hear. And
But that's where it's massive, because it's stuff like that. Because whether that's because he had not necessarily inside information, because it wouldn't be that, but he's in the yard, he's got like a bit of an idea. But it's stuff like that in it, because he's like affiliated, or he is like, I'm trying to think of the word, what it's called when you're. There is a word for it in there. Conflict of interest type stuff in it. But like there, like I want that. I want someone that's in the yard to give me something they're not going to tell anyone. Like with like race planner Kevin Blake for Joseph O'Brien, and I understand it when you watch him on the Cheltenham previews. Like the race one they do.
Joseph's horse, don't you?
Yeah, but he's like he's good in the main. Like he was like with Boundbridge and all that sort of stuff. Like you've asked him as well, didn't you, what was going to happen with the triple and that sort of stuff, and it makes you realise a little bit how much he likes them. And even when they were talking about high definition and stuff like that, he was a bit like. I wouldn't be like rushing. So like it's good. I like to listen to those people because you're getting something with them. The only ever time that it made me question him was when Fakir Doudry's shit home at Ascot, and he tipped up something else, didn't he? Because everyone was tipping up. What was it? A Kim Bailey horse?
That First Flow, was it?
Yeah, everyone was tipping something else up, and even he tipped up, and we were both like, we're backing Fakir because Fakir's going to win this, but we're like, it's a bit strange that he's not backing it. But yeah, anyway, I feel like we've ended it on too much of a nice note. I might go back to the rant and we'll call out someone. No, we'll leave it as that. I really appreciate your time, mate. We'll keep trying to do this every single week.
Just make sure you're on time, yeah? Let's see if shall I get you a watch? Shall I buy you a watch?
Yes.
Shall I watch?
I'll have a Bolex.
Have a Bolex. All right.
Right, I appreciate your support massively, mate, full stop, and then I'll catch up with you in the week, and then we'll do this again next week. Thank you guys out there as well for comments, liking, subscribing. Do chuck a little email, and I'll chuck another £25 out to someone next week if you can be asked to put stuff in there. The voice notes are gold, and what we want is, like Matt Chapman's on the line, if we start getting enough of these voice notes coming in, we're going to start getting some people on live, so then you can call us all gnomes under the sun if you want. It'll be great viewing, wouldn't it?
It will be great. It will be great viewing. Like,
imagine we got a road caller on that just starts having a go at us. That's what the people want.
If we helped you out at Cheltenham, help us out now by sending in